Hi, my name is David Powell. I'm here at the Capitol again in Sacramento. And, well, it looks like this week is the beginning of Victims Week for the state of California. I didn't even know we had one, to be honest. But that's not why I'm here. I'm actually here to speak out against AB2305, which is a new anti-gun bill, which in essence will get rid of concealed carry in California. So that's why I'm here. But
carry of a weapon, concealed weapon, either on or about an individual. The ruling, which dealt with dirks and daggers, broadly spoken, said that the legislative history was unclear as to whether or not a concealed weapon carried in a bag or external entity in close proximity should be included in the restrictions about concealed and carried weapons and prohibitions associated with. And the court suggested in the ruling that the legislature clarify its intent. So this AB 2305 seeks to provide clarity and make sure that we're clear that all concealed weapons are subject to our restrictions and should be treated as such. There have been some issues raised by opponents of the bill, and we've tried to work in good faith, coalition of supporters and this author to ensure that we have clarity, that it does not affect sportsmen or hunting, as one who appreciates the outdoors and those that utilize it. I certainly do not want to infringe or create a new standard, but this is an attempt to respond to a court decision that speaks to legislative clarification.
And you accepted the amendments?
Yes, I have, Mr. Chair. Thank you. And we will continue to work with the committee and all stakeholders.
Okay. So witnesses in support and the next two witnesses.
Mr. Chairman, members, Dan Lozado on behalf of the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office, as well as the San Diego County District Attorney's Office this morning. We are the sponsors of AB 2305. As the author stated, this measure simply is clarifying existing law. It doesn't change existing law today. It is illegal if you are not the registered owner of a firearm and are not otherwise lawfully transporting the firearm to carry a concealed weapon or switchblade on your person or in a backpack, purse, fanny pack. We are heeding the suggestion of the Court of Appeal and clarifying that on the person means on or about the person. California weapons laws, in some sections, they use the term on the person. In more recently enacted statutes, legislatures chose to use on or about the person. As the Court of Appeals pointed out, that because the legislature never went back and addressed the other sections, they feel that they had to take the law literally, and so that on the person doesn't include carrying, currently for knives, doesn't include carrying a knife in a backpack, fanny pack, or otherwise concealed. We are just trying to head off any further confusion as far as firearms or switchblades in respect to the question I vote.
Thank you very much. Next speaker in support.
Good morning, members. Mr. Chair, my name is Mark Thornley. I'm the Deputy District Attorney for the LA County District Attorney's Office. Very briefly, this legislation would not impact any existing laws that deal with the lawful transportation of firearms. This bill would just respond to the Second District Court of Appeals case, clarify some language, because absent this change, people who are in unlawful possession of a firearm that is concealed in a backpack could not be prosecuted. I ask for your eye vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Further witnesses in support.
Amanda Wilcox here on behalf of the California chapters of the Brady Campaign to Prevent Gun Violence, and we're in support of the bill.
Sean, California Attorneys Association, in support. Aaron McGuire on behalf of the California State Sheriff's Association, also in support.
Brian Chilmer with the Los Angeles County Professional Police Officers Association in support. Law Officer Tim Arian on behalf of the Riverside Sheriff's Association, Los Angeles Police Protective League Association Sheriffs and Los Angeles County Deputy Probation Officers Union. Support.
And Lieutenant Wayne Billowwood on behalf of Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department in support.
Okay, any witnesses in opposition?
Mr. Chairman, members, Sam Perez representing Mount California. We've had pretty extensive discussions regarding this bill with our attorneys, and they seem to come to a different conclusion that is being put here before the committee. This bill, although it appears to be very simple, will make it more confusing for people to legally transport firearms in many situations. And every time that happens, whenever there is confusion, law enforcement officers, and you can't blame them, will make the arrest, will confiscate the guns, and somebody's going to have to figure it out before a judge. And as people find themselves, are exonerated from breaking the law, it costs them a lot of money to do that. I think that this bill, the way it's structured right now, we believe that it adds more ambiguity and does not add clarity to the bill. And we've seen the amendments in our opposition is the same. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other witnesses in opposition, name and affiliation?
I actually kind of like standing up. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Sean Berg from Law Enforcement Consulting on behalf of our clients, California Association of Federal Firearms Licensees. We stand in opposition to this bill for a number of reasons. First, I'd like to point out something Mr. Felizano just said in his testimony, and I think it's actually absolutely true, and that is that there are laws governing concealed carry firearms, and there are laws governing what happens if you illegally carry a firearm and it's not registered to you, or you don't have permission through a CCW to carry that firearm. Those currently exist on the books. What we're trying to do here is add another layer that presents some problems. And the problem that we have with the bill is the ambiguity of on or about inconvenient reach. Perfect example, Mr. Chairman, if Ms. Potter there was carrying with her an illegal handgun, she is a felon. She has violated the law and should rightfully be arrested. If this bill were to pass as it's drafted, sir, you would be a felon too, because you are in arm's reach. You are conveniently accessible to her illegal firearm. We understand that may not be their intent, but as this is drafted now, I believe in the law of unintended consequences. As this bill is drafted now, it can be interpreted to bring a felony to anyone that is within arm's reach of someone who has an illegal firearm. So until that is cleared up, we cannot stand in support and stand in opposition and respectfully request your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, very much. Any other witnesses in opposition, name and affiliation only, please?
Yes, sir. My name is David Powell. I'm with Californians Opposing Gun Restrictions and Citizens Against Corruption United, and I urge you to oppose this bill.
Thank you, sir, very much.
I'd like to just point out one thing real quick, if I may. The 9th District has ruled that restrictions on concealed carry is unconstitutional.
Okay. All right. Any other witnesses in opposition? All right. Seeing none, the matter is in the hands of the committee. Is there a motion? And comment as well?
Move the bill.
Second. All right. And comment, Ms. Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Mr. Ridley Thomas, I enjoy serving with you here in Sacramento. We've had some good conversations about gun rights and gun control, and I think you and I are actually in lockstep on many sides of this issue, surprisingly to many, I'm sure. But one of the questions I have is, so when we're talking about this case and the Dirks and Daggers statute, you didn't make any changes to that.
No, this is because this is a response. The ruling was so broad, and the Court of Appeals, the 3rd District, actually had a contrary ruling. I think at an earlier date. It was mentioned in the analysis. So there's a legal ambiguity clause, and the Pelser case simply highlights that because the court has ruled by practice on or they adopted on or about modus operandi, if you will. But legislative intent is rather clear. This doesn't change existing statute. This doesn't go beyond what we already have. It simply clarifies what has already become practice, and I would argue provides certainty in an environment that is uncertain because of the ruling.
Okay, and the second concern I have is because of the way this is drafted, and I think there's some broadness to it. I do have a little bit of concern about some of our neighborhoods in California where there's a higher level of crime, where there's perhaps more gang activity, particularly in our underserved communities, where some of our youth or even adults may be unnecessarily charged because that's the environment in which they live. And so now you're in a school environment, and so this child gets in a little bit of trouble because he's a little too close to the guy who's actually, excuse me, meaning to do harm or do something wrong. Does that make sense?
I think the analogy, I mean, you can't have a firearm at school if you're a student, but just in general, the point is well taken. This would simply ensure that what is practice in terms of understanding that having a bag with a weapon is the same as having it on one's person, which has become practiced by law. It gives law enforcement, that's why you have rank and file and law enforcement management, prosecutors and police and the people that do the everyday investigatory work united on this proposal because it provides clarity so that we don't have, I have a kind of a two-headed district. The eastern half of my district doesn't get one type of justice and the western half gets another. That it's clear, that it's certain, that it's understood, that on or about means on or about, not that the legislature says on the person, but in practice, some courts interpret on or about to mean the same thing. So it's simply codifying existing practice, which has become legislative intent, a popular understanding about how the responsibilities are associated with concealed weapons.
Okay. All right, thank you. Sure. Any other comments? And a gun in your pocket. All right. All right, here we go. Roll call, please. Thank you. I'll take that as your close.
It is.
Amiana,